Hello, everyone, and welcome to European Voices podcast. I'm Vedrana Vujović from Bosnia and Herzegovina, and in upcoming episodes, I'll be your host. The idea of this podcast is to show the stories of young, successful activists in civil society and in politics who come from countries from the Western Balkans and the countries of the European Union. This project is implemented with the IRI's Generation Democracy Network from Europe region with the support of NED. I'm happy to welcome our first guest for this project, Anna Zahariadou from Greece. Anna, welcome and thank you for being our guest.
Hello. Thank you for having me. It's a great opportunity and a great initiative, if I have to say something.
Thank you. In the very beginning, I would love to ask you to describe your country, Greece, with the three words.
All right. I think Greece is very welcoming. It's a warm country, both as regards the climate and as regards its people. And I think the third word I would choose is special. Like Greece is a special country, 100%.
That sounds very interesting, really. I think that is something very familiar with the countries from the Southeastern Europe. They're very so special, definitely, and very welcoming to not just to the guests, but to each other between people, citizens of the country, especially like something like Greece. It's very beautiful. Thank you. And to introduce you to our listeners, tell us more about Anna. Who is Anna? What you do for a living, and something about your background, like education and what you're doing right now for a living.
All right. I'm first of all 28 years old. I live in Brussels. I was born in the north suburbs of Greece, Marousi. For all the Greeks that they will be listening, I'm pretty sure they will be smiling now. I finished my bachelor's degree in Athens. I studied political science and public administration with a specialization in European and international studies. And then I moved to Berlin, Germany, where I studied international war studies. And I did a double master's degree between the universities of Potsdam and University College Dublin. So basically, I'm a defense and security specialist. I have worked at the European Parliament and the European Commission on defense and security and migration issues. Now I'm working as a public affairs officer at a trade association, in Brussels. I'm also first runner-up after the local elections of 2019, when I ran for the second time in my city. And I've been involved in politics since the age of 17 to 18, actually.
Wow, that's really amazing. Something like me, because I'm also been engaged into the politics in Bosnia here since I was 18, it's almost for the 10 years now. It's really great. So your actually education is connected and related to politics, to political science, to the public administration, to young people in general.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And that's really amazing because Greece is country from the EU, and I think EU can bring so much opportunities to young people to not just to travel, but also to expand the knowledge, education, to start something, for example, in Greece, and then to continue to work and study, for example, in Brussels or in Berlin and Dublin, like you. And I think that's very inspiring, especially because Generation Democracy is a global network, and there's really great young people from all around the globe, but especially from Europe region. And I'm so happy to have you here today. You told us that you are also engaged in politics, like not just from the NGO, but also in politics in your local community. We are also here, actually, the main reason why we are here is to talk about activism. Can you tell me why did you decide to get involved in politics? Because I know that you're educational background, but also is there like another reason to get engaged, involved in politics in Greece and then to continue in Brussels?
Well, yeah, to be honest, as we say in Greece, I think politics is like a virus. They
Mhm.
need to engage, they need to be part of a wider network, a wider alliance is there. And if it's there, like you cannot get rid of it. That's what I think. And that's how I always felt. I think on the one hand, I had it in me because, as far as I remember myself, I wanted to be part of this network and part of this, let's say, environment. I always liked watching people with influence on TV and people who actually can have an impact on their society, and that made me um, feel that there is a place for me there. But what actually made me to make the step to join this whole environment is when I was around 2000, so, when I was 17, 18, there 2012, there was in Greece this big wave, this formation of the liberal center right, let's say, space in Greek politics
Mhm.
that did not exist back then. And there were a lot of developments when it comes to the formation of our government. Back then, we were, trying to cope and get through the financial crisis. And of course, the political situation was unsure. So there were a lot of new ideas, a lot of new, kind of ideological waves, and that made me be part of this, want to be part of this, because every idea I would hear was like, yeah, this fits me, this suits me. And reading all the classical liberals in the university made me think that, yeah, this is absolutely my kind of thing, my space. And then I approached, actually, got in contact with one of my mentors, a great female political figure in Greece. And I joined youth politics in
Wow.
university. And the next year, I ran for local elections for the first time in 2014 when I was 19 years old.
That's really amazing, especially because you're that kind of passion for politics. I mean, I completely understand that when you get engaged in politics into that early age, actually on college especially, that it's completely different than being engaged in politics like after in uh, early 30s, or when you have 30 or 40 years. I mean, it's really important for young people to be engaged in social life, in political life, in their local communities, in their countries. And I think it's very inspiring how actually your mentor and your that female like role models actually motivate you and give you opportunity to be engaged. And that's like, I found it very important to have that kind of persons in your life, especially in that, like in the age of 80 or 90. That's really great. Is there enough young people in politics, in decision-making process in Greece? Is there a space for them in general? I mean, based on your story, there were some kind of space. There was some kinds of space back in the days, but how about right now?
Well, this is a very long discussion. It's kind of a complicated issue to be able for someone to be able to give like a uh, a single and a solid answer. So, on the one hand, Greece has been through a lot. We've been through quite turbulent times the past years, and this kind of changed, the whole notion of politics. And politics got completely disdained because of the financial crisis and all the
Mhm.
crises that followed, because the people's lifestyles changed.
Yeah,
And of course, in a financial crisis, they tend to deteriorate, and Greek people felt that. So at the same time, young people, everyone, but also and specifically young people, felt that it is the politicians to blame for, and therefore politics is not a clean, transparent place to be. So we have to always keep in mind that young people are not very willing to kind of sacrifice themselves and be part of this network that they feel is not worth it.
Mhm.
And they feel that they will not be heard. And in the end, they will not be able to pursue their ideas. But on the other hand, politically, Greece is a very traditional country, I have to say. It's not the easiest task for a young person to be involved in politics, even if they would like to. Still, it needs a lot of networking. That is why people with passion about it, like me, start from a very young age and are aware that they need to start from a very young age, and kind of go through and progress with time, because it's not a decision that you can make and suddenly make it happen. You cannot say, okay, now I'm 35, I decided to join politics, I have good ideas, I will have a good campaign, and in 2 years that we have elections, I will stand a huge chance of getting elected. No, it's a very complicated and
It's
very,
actually
let's say,
a complicated process to
it's
be really
yes,
engaged.
it is a
Yeah.
complicated process. Also, also people in Greece, because I've ran myself in electoral campaigns as well. They don't seem to be very open to include young people in their, let's say, voting choices.
Mhm.
They think that people should have more experience. On the other hand, if someone can have chances of getting elected, then they need to know a lot of people, and I'm talking about young people now. Yeah, if someone young wants to feel and actually have a chance of getting elected, they need to be quite, connected. They need to know a lot of people. And another factor that I will mention here is money.
Yes, of course.
And that you will know that from yourself, from your political campaigns and from your experience in politics. And because Greece is a very politically very traditional country, then it seems that older people have a priority in the political scene every time. So the situation, that's why I said it's a bit complicated. You cannot give a single answer to that.
Mhm.
It's getting better, I have to say. And because our politicians have realized that and want to change the scene.
Yeah, I can be like familiar with that you said that you not just that part of tradition, because people in general in Bosnia, they were like very traditional, but when it comes to politics, I can say that in Bosnia in general, in the Western Balkans, we are countries that have like young democracy, because we have like the democratic political system for the past 30 years. But it's very interesting to that kind of thinking about being young people in politics, especially when it comes to elections, to be elected young official. It's a very complicated, and it's very hard to be very not you can have like the best education, you can have like the best ideas, but you also need that kind of support from the background, from the donors. You need to have some kind of fundraising to support you, and also to meet and to know lots of people. So there is something that is very connected and related to the Bosnia and to the Balkans. And how about, I can completely understand that kind of part of the Greece, but how about EU? You were studying in the European Union, and you're working now with the EU institutions, have lots of experience there. Does EU create enough space for young people in general, not just in politics and activism, but also to give them, are EU giving more space to young people?
Oh, I think they definitely do. They definitely do. I think everything, goes around youth participation and youth inclusion
Yeah.
these years. And I absolutely see it, as you said, not only just in politics, but in every kind of organization, association, or institution um, I tend to encounter. In the commission, in the parliament, there is a lot of encouragement, for young people to be part of their professional staff. And I think now the institutions, and particularly, the commission, is coming up with a lot of initiatives to involve young people in many types of initiatives, and groups. But on the other hand, young people also need to want to be part of this. I think also, like, a lot of EU policies are not quite known, very widely in every single one of the EU member states yet.
Mhm.
So if you ask an average citizen in Greece, even in Germany, or in Belgium, if they are aware of what the institutions are proposing, I'm not sure that they are absolutely aware of them. So it's kind of like, a twofold thing to say, but definitely there are a lot of opportunities at the EU level. Yes.
It sounds so powerful, actually. A few days ago, my country, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and they get the candidate status for the EU.
Yes, and congratulations for that. Yeah, I saw it.
Thank you. I think that it's very important to get that status of candidates, because it can be like encouraging to young people to get to have that opportunity in future, in the upcoming years, and in the EU process, as a candidate, to have more space for not just being active or proactive, but also to have a lot of opportunities when it comes to business, to economy, to also to security. And I think that is beautiful, really beautiful, because it's really like motivation, like motivation to our listeners, to my friends, to my co-workers here, that they will be probably better if they didn't have so much space right now here in Bosnia. They can have, for example, in the EU institutions, and they can have their support in the upcoming years.
Yeah, and this is indeed very powerful as a message, and really, really great for your country as well. I've been twice, and I love the people, and I honestly wish you all the best and great success for your journey towards the EU membership.
Thank you so much. We are running out of time, but if you have some kind of final message to our listeners and to maybe your friends, comrades from the EU, from the Balkans, from Europe in general, for young people.
Oh, I do. Probably never rest. Never quit your goals and your dreams. Try hard, fight hard, because that's what's needed in modern times, these times. And everything is possible. That's what I have to say.
Thank you. That's really great. Everything is possible, and I think that there is something very have been interesting message for the past few days when it comes to the World Cup in football. Yeah, but you need to work hard. You need to believe in yourself, and you need to never quit with your dreams, quit anything. Thank you, Anna, so much. It was a pleasure having you as a guest.
Thank you for having me. Indeed, thank you, Vedrana. Great initiative.
Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks Generation Democracy, IRI.net for supporting this, and make sure to follow Generation Democracy on Instagram, Twitter, and subscribe to our new channel for more upcoming episodes. Thank you everyone.